present the rest of the slides of this webinar. My name is Javier Ortego. I am the director of the AEM. And let's see the presentation. Okay, so we have the measuring point. In the measuring point, we have different elements. One, the most important, is the measuring system. Measuring system is the digital recorder that will acquire the PD information to be analyzed in the central computer. And this measuring instrument will be an instrument with 4 PD channels synchronized, so we can acquire data from 4 sensors simultaneously to be analyzed. And we can also increase the number of sensors to be acquired combining the MS solution with a multiplexer. This multiplexer can increase the number of channels up to 52 channels. So we will be able to acquire PD information from 52 sensors. We can use high frequency current transformer sensors like this picture. This sensor is very interesting because we can cover a big scope, a big range in the installation, but we can also combine with the same instrumentation UHF or TIFF sensor. Okay, we can acquire the data for higher frequencies, for ultra high frequency, using a converter that will convert the ultra high frequency signal to high frequency signal. So using converters, we can adapt the signal to be acquired by the same instrumentation, high frequency instrumentation. Okay. The typical installation for a substation is using one measuring point like this, and we can also combine more than one box. Like in this example here, we have 2 measuring points. The measuring points will be connected through optical fiber link, so we can install in any place in the substation the instrumentation, and the communication will be done with a computer in a rack cabinet that will manage all the acquisition and will process all the signals. We have another solution, another alternative is a more optimized solution that is using only a measuring box with the computer inside. So we can do the process of the signals inside the box, and we can send the analyzed data directly to the maintenance center from this box. So we can reduce with only one box the monitoring solution. This is the aspect of the measuring point. We have a case that will be manufactured according to the needs of the final installation with the IP protection for the environment. We will have also inside several protections, electrical protections for the instrument to avoid any over voltage that can damage the instrumentation. And we will have all the cables connecting the sensors that will be installed at the assets of the high voltage installation. So this is very clear. We have instrument, multiplexer, and a lot of cables for the sensors. In order to install this continuous monitoring system in a substation, we can distinguish, depending on the capabilities of the system, different approaches. We will analyze one approach that is the most optimized solution. This is the first approach, and we will call detection, just detection. And this approach is using only high frequency current transformer sensors installed at the connections of the cables to the GIS. So we can apply this solution in order to do detection in any of the assets of the installation. We will detect PD in the GIS, we will detect PD in any of the cables, the lines and the cable connecting the transformers, and we will detect also the PD coming from the transformer. So this solution is very optimized. We need only one box with the instrument and the multiplexer, and we will install sensors in all the cables connected to the GIS. With this solution, we will detect any PD that is traveling along the conductors, and we will be able to analyze the pulse polarity. We analyze the pulse polarity that is defined by the polarity of the front of the PD pulse in order to know the direction of the pulse that are traveling along the conductor. So if we have any PD coming from the cable to the sensor, the PD is traveling through the hole of the sensor to go to the ground, and we will have positive polarity when the voltage is positive and negative when the voltage is negative. If we have a PD pulse coming from any of the rest of the insulation of the substation on the other side, for example, the GIS compartment, the PD will travel from the ground to the cable to continue traveling. In this case, we will have opposite polarity, so we will have very clear analysis to distinguish when the PDs are coming from the cable to the GIS or from the GIS to the cable. Applying this analysis, for instance, in this picture we have some examples. If we have a PD coming from the cable, from one of the lines, like the green defect, we will have positive polarity for the sensors of the line and negative polarity for the rest of the sensors. For instance, if we have a PD inside the GIS, we will have negative polarity for all the sensors. And the last example, if we have a PD coming from the connection of one of the transformers, like the blue defect, we will have positive polarity in the cable connecting the transformer and negative polarity in the rest of the cable. So it's very easy, just detecting the PD and analyzing the polarity, we will discriminate between cables and GIS, okay? So we have a good solution with the minimum investment to detect any problem of the installation. This is the best application of BlueBox technology because we can detect PDs from any asset in high frequency. We can manage the noise of the high frequency sensors to detect any PD in the installation. The next approach that we can apply for substation is combining high frequency current transformers like before and tip or invasive sensors at GIS. So if we combine these two sensors, the invasive ultra high frequency and high frequency current transformer, we will have the sensors at the cables, and we will have also some sensors, ultra high frequency sensors, installed at the GIS compartments. So with this combination, we will be able to obtain localization at GIS. Okay, we will be able to discriminate where is the PD defect along the GIS, because we will have a very clear attenuation when we detect the PDs with ultra high frequency sensors, and we will be able to identify which compartment is having the problem along the GIS. So this is the next approach, combining in the same measuring instrument more sensors that will be for ultra high frequency measurement. In this case, if we have invasive sensors, it's perfect because the sensitivity is very high. But if we don't have possibility to put sensors and there are no invasive sensors, this is not applicable. Okay, so with the first approach, it's always applicable with ultra high frequency, maybe for very old installation where we don't have any inspection window, any insulated spacer, or any invasive sensor. It's difficult to apply this ultra high frequency measurement. The last approach, the total application, is installing another instrument on the transformer side. If we combine the second approach with another equipment on the transformer side, just using high frequency current transformers, so we can multiplex and cover the 3 transformers of the substation, we will be able to obtain localization at the transformer. So we will be able to apply localization along the cables that we are, the cables to connect the transformer with the GIS. Using the different arrival time of the pulses to the sensors synchronized by fiber optic, we will obtain this automatic PD mapping. For instance, if we have a PD coming from the transformer 1, we will have an automatic PD mapping that is showing to us that we have a concentration of PDs on the side of the transformer. So we will reach the maximum capability for localization inside the substation with these two units multiplexed, combining high frequency, ultra high frequency sensors. And the last application is if we have any PD coming from the cable and we want to localize the PDs along the cable, along the line, we can apply additional measurements if we have this installation setup, because we will know that the PDs are coming from the cable by the polarity, but in order to localize the PDs along the cable, we need to do additional measurement with synchronized equipment at other position of the cable. Let's see how to apply this additional measurement along the cable. For the lines, if we have a offline test, the typical way to do localization, maybe you already know, is reflectrometry. Reflectrometry is based on the traveling of the PDs that is going to the substation where we have the MS unit with the sensor, and at the same time is traveling to the other side. If we have a big reflection on the other termination because it's not connected to anything, we will have the PD coming back with a different arrival time. So measuring the reflection arrival time, we will be able to do localization along the cable, but this is only applicable offline. In case that we are in a real installation in service, this reflection is very small because the PD will continue traveling to the next element connected to the cable. So as this is not applicable for in service, we need to do additional measurement, like in this example, with another equipment on the other side that is synchronized with the equipment that we have installed in the substation. So we can use, for instance, a portable instrument. This is a MSPICO, is a solution for spot measurements. So we can acquire data in 2, 3, 5 minutes, and we will synchronize the signals with GPS in order to do localization along the cable. We will measure only one way of the PD pass. The PD pass will travel to the sensor at the substation and will be catched by the sensor of the continuous monitoring solution, and will travel in the other direction to our spot measurement instrument, and we will get the information at the same time. So when we analyze the information together that is compatible, we will be able to do a localization map along the line in order to know where are the PDs coming from in the cable. So with this approach, we can cover any asset of our installation, the substation elements and also the long cables coming from outside. This is an example of how is working the software for a synchronized measurement. And here we will see PD information that has been collected by two sensors. Okay, on the left we have the PD collected by the sensor in substation A, and on the right we have the PD collected by sensor at substation B. These sensors are synchronized by GPS in different substations, and the PD data looks very similar, but with this data synchronized, we will be able to apply these interesting tools. The first one is the automatic localization tool. Here at the bottom of the picture, we have one concentration at 0 meters, or at the substation A, and we have another concentration of PD at 408 meters at the substation B. So we have two concentrations that we can analyze in order to see which PD is coming from each substation. And we will see in a video how we can cluster the information that is located in each position. With the tool that we have at the top of the picture, this three-dimensional space, we analyze 3 parameters of the pulses that are very useful to discriminate, to separate different PD phenomena. Let's see the video in order to see how the software is working. Okay, now we have the measurement localized. We can filter the information for the localization at the position of the substation A, and we will see the PD pattern of the PDs located at substation A. In this PD pattern, maybe we have more than one PD phenomena, so we can use the three-dimensional space to cluster the information and to see the resultant PD pattern for each phenomena. In this case, we are selecting one cloud of the three-dimensional space, and we have a very clear corona PD pattern on the screen. And now we can move the selection for the other cloud in the three-dimensional space, and we will see another PD pattern that is corresponding to a different corona phenomena. Okay, so we have two different phenomena, and we can localize automatically at the position of substation A, and we can cluster the different for the same position. Now we go to the other substation, and we will see the pattern of the PDs coming from the other substation. We have in the other substation a PD pattern corresponding to an external surface PD. So we have one cloud, and we don't need to cluster the information in this case because only one PD pattern is represented in this substation. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now we will see 3 experiences. The first experience is for a continuous monitoring in a GIS. Okay, we have substation A and substation B, 2 continuous monitoring systems synchronized by GPS, connected with 2 kilometers of cable. And when we fuse the information, when we mix the information from substation A and substation B, as they are synchronized, we can obtain with the software automatical PD mapping, okay, from substation A to substation B along the period of monitoring. In this case, the vertical axis is representing the evolution of several days along the monitoring period. So we have some concentration position of substation B, and when we analyze this PD activity located at substation B during several days, we identify several PD patterns of floating potential. In this picture, we can see that there are several floating potential. Typical floating potential is one cloud very flat on the positive semi-period, and another cloud very flat in the opposite semi-period. So when we have several clouds like this, it's because we have several PD phenomena with floating potential. So when we analyze this phenomena in this installation, this was a 220 kV GIS, and we speak with the customer, and the customer finally identified with the GIS manufacturer that there were a problem with the invasive PD sensor. The customer was being installing invasive sensors for PD measurement inside the GIS compartment, and those sensors were not properly grounded. So this sensor inside the GIS compartment was generating a PD phenomena, a PD of floating potential inside the SF6. So finally, they were able to identify the problem and to eliminate these defects from the installation. The next experience, the next example is installation where we are monitoring GIS and transformer in the substation. We are monitoring with two measuring instruments. One is at the position of the GIS multiplexer, and another one is multiplexer for the transformers connected by optical fiber. And we identify several PD located at the position of the transformer. So these two instruments are detecting the PDs located at the position of the transformer. When we analyze the PD phenomena, we identify more than one PD. One PD is corresponding to one of the phases, and the other PD is a little the phase like 60 degrees on the left of the other one. And this PD is corresponding to an insulation between two phases. So it's a PD inside the transformer between the two phases, and another PD between phase and the ground. So doing the analysis, we can cluster the information, and we see one PD corresponding to insulation between S and T phase, and we can see on the other side a PD, internal PD corresponding to the phase T. When we analyze these two patterns, the customer was decided to open the transformer and the terminations, and finally they were able to save the transformer before a failure, because there were several carbonization inside the winding of the transformer and the connection of the high voltage, and also they found a PD problem, a carbonization at the termination connected to the transformer. Okay, so this is very interesting, because when you are doing other kind of predictive maintenance to the transformer, you will be able to find problems for the oil. If you do DGA analysis, for example, you can find something like this in this analysis. But when you have a problem in the termination connecting the transformer like this, you will have no signal in the DGA, and when this termination that is connecting the transformer fails, maybe you can have a big failure and the transformer can be burned finally. So this is very important to be monitoring the termination connecting the transformers. So this is the last experience. We have a localization at a cable. In this case, we were monitoring with a continuous monitoring system. The MS was installed in substation B, and the cable connecting the substation A and B. And the cable was 4 kilometers. And when we did the analysis of the localization between A and B, we found a concentration maintained during the monitoring period in substation B. This concentration, when we analyze the PD pattern, is corresponding to an internal PD phenomena for one of the phases, the third phase. When we analyze this phenomena, the customer decided to carry out additional measurements in order to localize the PD in substation B. So those measurements were carried out between different positions. So they did synchronized measurement between position B, position C, position D, and all the transformers of the substation. And finally, doing the localization between sensors, high frequency current transformer sensors in the substation, all the measurements conclude that the PD was coming from the position C inside the cable entrance, cable termination inside the GIS. So finally, with the manufacturer in a 220 kV GIS, the customer, the owner of the installation, decided to open the termination, and this was the result. There were several signals of degradation by the PD. The first one was the oil of the termination was presenting several degradation. In the picture, we can see some dark spots. And also inside the female cone of the termination, we detected several black spots. Maybe it's not possible to see the picture, but there was very clear signals of degradation of the insulation. So we were able to prevent the failure of this termination. So these are the different experiences. The IL has been collecting continuous monitoring experience since before creating the IL in the university. 2006, we were developing this technology. So we start to monitor our first 220 kV installation in 2007. And we have been monitoring the same installation until now with the same instrumentation. And we have been also doing several spot measurements, temporal monitoring for transformer, especially in several countries. More than 30 countries we have been working through our partners for industrial area and also for... Okay. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Javier. So Pak Parlin will give a brief summary. Hopefully we still have time for, after this, we will hear the response or review from Indonesia SIGRE Chairman, Pak Herman Daniel. But before that, I will give the time for Pak Parlin give a brief summary.
Baik, terima kasih. Saya akan coba buat kembali summary dari presentasi yang sudah disampaikan oleh Pak Javier kepada kita. Tadi dimulai oleh Pak Javier di measuring point. Measuring point itu adalah kumpulan daripada measuring system, bisa sampai 4 PD channel, dan juga untuk multiplexer. Multiplexer itu adalah tambahan channel yang bisa dipakai sampai maksimum 52 channel untuk dihubungkan dengan sensor yang berlokasi di peralatan. Kemudian multiplexer itu dihubungkan dengan beberapa sensor, baik tipe HFCT maupun TFV, dan juga UHF sensor yang terpasang di peralatan. Beberapa measuring point dapat dipasang di beberapa lokasi di gardu induk. Untuk contoh ini tadi ada beberapa dipasang di antara GIS dan juga di trafo untuk mengontrol peralatan-peralatan yang ada di gardu induk. Dan measuring point ini bisa dihubungkan ke server lokal yang berada di gardu induk maupun ke remote server untuk monitoring. Kemudian ini adalah beberapa contoh atau satu contoh yang measuring point yang terpasang di GIS. Ya, saya skip aja ini. Kemudian untuk monitoring substation, dia ada beberapa tahapan. Ya, untuk tahapan pertama ini baru tahap deteksi. Jadi sensor HFCT dipasang di setiap grounding HV kabel yang berlokasi di GIS, ya semua sini. Kemudian di tahapan ini hanya akan mendeteksi, belum melokalisir. Dengan cara berdasarkan polaritas signal PD yang ditangkap oleh sensor, ya. Polaritasnya positif atau negatif, dari sana akan ketahuan sumber dari PD. Untuk contoh di sini, sumber PD-nya itu, sumber positifnya kalau seandainya ada PD di sini, ya di daerah hijau ini, peralatan akan mendeteksi polaritas positif di sebelah sini. Dari contoh di atas, apabila citra yang tertangkap di peralatan adalah positif, maka terdeteksi adanya aktivitas PD di area GIS, dan apabila sebaliknya, maka PD berasal dari trafo. Setelah itu diperlukan sensor jenis lain, dan tahapan berikutnya untuk melokalisir sumber PD. Nah, ini adalah tahapan yang kedua. Ya, tahapan kedua untuk melokalisir sumber PD di GIS. perlu dipasang sensor tambahan berjenis TFV, yaitu external sensor. Ini bisa dipasang di setiap gas barrier di lokasi GIS, ataupun dengan UHF sensor yang biasanya terpasang sudah terpasang secara online di masing-masing GIS. Lokalisasi PD di kompartemen GIS akan berdasarkan energi yang dikumpulkan oleh masing-masing sensor tersebut. Apabila di lokasi ini ya terjadi PD, maka sensor yang paling dekat akan mendapatkan energi yang paling besar, sehingga dapat dideteksi langsung lokasi PD ada di mana melalui gambar yang kita dapatkan di peralatan. Kemudian yang fase ketiga, ya fase ketiga untuk contoh mendeteksi sumber PD di area trafo. Di area trafo dipasang seperti di GIS, dipasang HFCT sensor di semua kabel. Kemudian seperti cara yang tadi, dengan measuring point akan dapat dideteksi sumber daripada PD yang ada di trafo, baik fasenya maupun juga trafo yang mana yang mengalami PD. Kemudian ini lokasi PD di HP kabel, ada yang tadi secara offline dan secara online. Ya, ini berdasarkan prinsip reflectometry atau synchronized sensor. Sensor disinkronisasikan melalui GPS atau fiber optik, dan refleksiometri ini atau sistem pantulan signal mempunyai keterbatasan, yaitu pantulan signal secara online, ya, secara online akan lebih kecil daripada offline, dan signal tersebut dipantulkan ke banyak posisi. Seringkali ini mengarah kepada kesalahan pengukuran menjadi tidak akurat. Pantulan dipilih secara manual untuk melokalisir PD. Kemudian ini beberapa sampel, tadi diceritakan video tentang clustering PD pattern. Jadi PD itu di cluster secara 3 dimensi untuk melokalisir dari mana sumber PD berasal. Kemudian ini untuk study case yang kedua, alarm adanya indikasi PD di antara dua lokasi GIS, yaitu lokasi GIS A dan GIS B yang berjarak sekitar 2 km. Terlihat bahwa sumber PD berasal dari substation B karena yang didapatkan itu di sekitar sini. Nah, ini sesudah diperiksa dan dilakukan pembongkaran di substation B, itu ditemukan bahwa sumber PD berasal dari adanya floating potential di UHF sensor yang terpasang di dalam GIS. Tadi dijelaskan bahwa UHF sensor yang terpasang di GIS itu groundingnya tidak cukup bagus. Ini study case yang kedua PD di area trafo. HFCT dipasang di grounding UGC di sisi GIS maupun di sisi trafo. Blue box secara otomatis melokalisir sumber PD dan terdapat bahwa sumber PD berasal dari area trafo. Ya, seperti ini. Jadi GIS dipasang, sensor dipasang di area GIS dan di area trafo. Kemudian measuring point akan mendeteksi dan hasilnya ditemukan ada PD source di area trafo. Setelah dilakukan diagnosa, terdapat dua sumber PD, yaitu di dalam trafo maupun di terminasi kabel. Jadi menggunakan clustering 3D didapatkan sumber PD dan bisa dilokalisir. Sesudah dilakukan pembongkaran, didapati bahwa PD bersumber dari adanya degradasi atau pelemahan isolasi di belitan trafo. Ya, yang dua ini fotonya. Kemudian adanya kerusakan di bagian terminasi. Kemudian yang contoh studi kasus yang lain adalah monitoring PD di antara dua gardu induk yang berjarak 4 km. Diketahui adanya aktivitas PD di kabel antara GIS A dan GIS B di fase T. Kemudian ini adalah sesudah dilakukan investigasi lebih lanjut, diketemukan bahwa lokasi PD berada di antara C dan D, C dan B, C dan E, sehingga diambil kesimpulan bahwa ada masalah di lokasi C, di fase T. Setelah dilakukan pembongkaran UGC, didapati bahwa PD berasal dari adanya degradasi isolasi minyak di kabel, ini ya, dan adanya PD spot di permukaan female part HV kabel. Oke, kira-kira demikian Pak, summary yang bisa saya sampaikan sore hari ini. Terima kasih untuk waktu dan kesempatannya.
Terima kasih Pak Parlin. Baik, kita akan masuk ke yang berikutnya. Saya ingin memperkenalkan responden atau reviewer kita hari ini adalah Dr. Herman Daniel Ibrahim. Beliau adalah sebelumnya pernah menjabat sebagai Direktur TND PLN, kemudian sampai saat ini masih merupakan ketua atau chairman dari Komite Nasional Indonesia SIGRE. Beliau juga menjabat anggota Dewan Energi Nasional beberapa waktu, lalu juga periode yang lalu Pak Herman juga menjadi anggota DPD. Dan pagi tadi saya mendengar bocoran kabar, pagi tadi Pak Herman baru menyelesaikan fit and proper test di DPR untuk menjabat anggota Dewan Energi Nasional berikutnya. Kita doakan supaya Pak Herman kembali dipercaya mengampu amanah, karena beliau punya banyak pemikiran dan kontribusi yang sangat baik untuk sistem dan kelistrikan di Indonesia. Waktu dan tempat silakan Pak Herman Daniel, 10-15 menit untuk memberikan tanggapan.